Right there guys, how's it going? So today we have an article from Paul Joyce over at the Times, and it's a bit of an analytic piece in my opinion, is this, if that makes sense. So basically it's titled, Liverpool still aren't passing the eye test despite what the stats say. Now, at first glance of this, at the title and stuff, it feels like obviously, in fact let me go back a bit. Whenever Paul Joyce puts an article out, obviously he's got the authorization of the club to do so. So this is what the club want you to hear type thing. Now, going back to what I was going to say, at first glance, this sounds like a little bit of a warning to Slot, in all fairness. But I'm going to go through it with you, and then you let me know what you think down in the comments, and maybe we'll come to some sort of the correct decision between us both. So anyway, let me know down below what you think, guys. Hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the hype button, because apparently that also helps the channel as well. So, as I said, it's titled, Liverpool still aren't passing the eye test despite what the stats say. After an unconvincing victory over Forest, Slot needs to find some luck and rally aside for West Ham this weekend, starting with Salah. And then he goes on to say, At first glance, it can feel like little has altered for Liverpool. After all, they head into a game against West Ham this weekend with the memory of a glitching performance against Forest still fresh in their minds, and concern over the form of their attackers, Salah among them, occupying the thoughts of Slot. It was the same back at the end of November when Liverpool pitched up at the London Stadium under increasing pressure and attempted to prevent their season unravelling yet further. Isak scored his first Premier League goal, plus a goal from Gakpo sealed a 2-0 win since when Liverpool had lost only 2 games. Slot's side has played 20 matches in all competitions before the trip to West Ham, and having played 20 since then, Man United, a rival for Champions League, will play a maximum of 40 games this season. Well, that's got to do with it. The sample size is broad enough now to make comparisons and throws up some interesting points, while not obscuring the reality that more forward strides will be required for Liverpool's campaign to be deemed acceptable in Slot's eyes, as well as the club hierarchy, I'd hope. The most obvious change is to the Premier League table. Liverpool languished in 13th when they last played West Ham. Now they lie in 6th, back in contention for the Champions League. That is so important to their self-sustaining financial model. See, I'll stop there. Like that, to me, is like a bit of a warning of like, if Liverpool don't get Champions League, you ain't spending any money next summer. This does not tally up with pre-season expectations, but is nevertheless an uptake from where they were, and the improvement has been found largely upon straightening out the defensive deficiencies that have been so damaging. There were 4 clean sheets in the first half of the campaign compared to 10 in the last 20 games. Liverpool are not defending any deeper. The average starting distance of their backline is essentially the same, but collectively, individual standards have risen. Goals conceded from open play have dropped from 20 down to 9. And there's like a little bit of a table here. I don't know how to go through it a little bit, but basically it is showing on the left-hand side, it's highlighted which areas are higher for Liverpool in the first 20 games. And then on the other side, it's showing what's got better in the last 20 games. So in the first 20 games of the season compared to this 20 games, we had more shots, we had more average possession, and we had possession won more in the opponent's final third. Compared to the 20 games that we've just played, we've had more shots, touches in the opposition box, expected goals, but just by 1. We've scored more goals, we've got a better XG, we've scored more goals from a corner, more goals from open play, and goals from set pieces. So, yeah. Of course, one of the biggest positive changes has come regarding to set pieces, which at one stage drove Slot to distraction. He has recalibrated matters with the number of set-piece goals conceded down from 14 in the first 20 games to just 7, and the amount scored increased from 7 to 13. That is essentially a 50% uplift in both directions. I just want to this bit here is sounding very like it's praising Slot, doesn't it? So that's good. Liverpool's set piece coach Aaron Briggs lost his job in December, and Lewis Mahoney now does the main work according to Slot. They will then have a meeting to look at the last details. Interestingly, 54% of Liverpool's corners were in-swinging in the first 21 league games. In the last 6, this has increased to 90, and that was the template for Virgil van Dijk's winner against Sunderland. I've never really been a fan of out-swinging corners because you want to get the ball into the net. And if you're kicking the ball away from it, so you're curling it away, do you know what I mean? Then you're putting more of an emphasis on the spin on the ball away from the goal. So I've always kind of thought like if you put a swing towards the goal, then the ball's already going that way. So all you've got to do is like get a touch on it and direct it towards the goal, and it'll have the momentum of the ball coming in plus what you put behind it. Do you know what I mean? Because if it's coming out, you've got to like stop it technically, and then it goes. Do you know what I mean? I hope I hope that made sense to you. Made sense to me. Where were we up to? Yet while that is an example of a tweak, Slot's expectations was that matters would improve simply by virtue of the fact that not everything that could go wrong would continue to do so. He's then quoted as saying, "It would be very unfair to Aaron, who was partly responsible for that setup, because in the end, I am responsible for everything. We have been in a period of time that's so unlucky. We all knew it couldn't go on like that because we hardly gave away a chance at set pieces. But every ball went in, and we created multiple opportunities to score, then the ball didn't go in. So that things have gone back to normal now is something which we expected." Other trends comparing the first 20 games of the season with the last 20 show that Liverpool are facing fewer long balls, down from 16 to 13%, which is surprising given the problems they previously had in dealing with second balls. They are having less possession, the amount dropping from 60 to 57, and offensively they're outperforming their XG by 4.1, where they had been underperforming at 4.2. Their pressing is still not what it should be. Forgetting statistics for a minute, however, simply watching Liverpool tells you everything is not how it should be. It's fucking boring, isn't it, guys? Last Sunday's first half at Forest was a particular hard watch. Before Slot's substitutes, his switching of Rio from the left to the right paid dividends. Still, a horrible opening half was a backward step, and not out of kilter with one worrying trend. Liverpool have only scored 5 goals before the 40th minute in league games, and once since the win over Everton in September. In matches at Anfield, that has done little to enliven a crowd looking to be entertained. Indeed, it is joint lowest of any Premier League side this season, along with rock bottom Wolves. That's fucking bad, is that? Liverpool have scored 24 goals during the same time frame of their first 27 league games. Finding a solution to those slow starts is long overdue, especially considering how Slot has repeatedly spoken about how the intensity of the schedule has affected some of the club's new signings and contributed to the concession of costly late goals. That is one performance indicator that has not improved over the last 20 games, as points squandered in added time against Leeds, Fulham and City illustrate. Liverpool have also been unlucky with injuries, particularly to Isak, who suffered a broken leg just as he started to find his scoring boots, but their campaign on the pitch is not characterised by misfortune. When the club's former director of research, Ian Graham, famously studied Klopp's last season at Dortmund before he became Liverpool manager, he calculated that they had 16 fewer points than they actually deserved given the flow of matches. The typical spread of points versus expected points over a 38-game season is plus or minus 8 for Liverpool, I think. Is anyone still with me? Opta's expected Premier League table has Liverpool at 5th, not 6th, where they actually are, but still on the same points. It also predicts that Slot's side has a 47.1% chance of finishing in the top 4. although even that may not be needed with the Premier League almost certain to win a 5th place in the Champions League. We have actually done a prediction, me and Shauna. There's a video up on the channel now where you can actually go and look at what we predict Liverpool to get from the remaining league games this season. It's quite a good watch. Given everything Slot has endured, i.e. the death of Jota, rest in peace, the downturn in form of key players, injuries, new signings, assimilating and scathing criticism, coming through what he has already described as the most difficult season as a coach would feel significant. The Dutchman has already said he does not think his job will be dependent solely on Champions League qualification, but that sporting director Richard Hughes will review and the team, individual performances as well as other metrics, which I kind of agree with. Like, I am still of the opinion that Slot will be gone in the summer. I think he becomes virtually unsackable if he wins the Champions League, but as he says himself there, he's going to be judged on other metrics just in Champions League. And as Paul Joyce has been talking about in this article, it is boring to watch Liverpool now. So something has to give. And 9 times out of 10, it's the manager. And when you've got a manager like Alonso just sat there waiting to be snapped up, it's tempting to go do it, innit? Just seeing what else we need to touch on here. It's clear that since the previous meeting with West Ham, Slot has sought to stamp his mark on the squad. For example, he dropped Salah, although that started a chain of events that led to an inflammatory outburst from the Egyptian and more division. Headway has been made in certain areas, but there remains much work to do. And that is the end of the article there, guys, for you. So I took a leaf out of Dunk's book, over at Cop Talk. And I thought, I've got ChatGPT. I'm going to put the article in there. And I'm just going to ask it, do you think that Slot's job is still up for grabs after, this article type thing? Like, what do you think, basically, is what I said. And it came back with this. Hold on a moment. Let me just find it again. Sorry. Where's it gone? There we go. So it says here, is Arne Slot's job on the line? Right now, no. Long answer, it depends what this season is being judged as. This isn't stable cruising Liverpool side. This is a season that has included the death of Jota, the Salah fallout, big money spent, key injuries to Isak, and a tactical shift from the Klopp era to the Slot era. And that's not been a calm handover, it's been turbulent. Owners don't usually sack during turbulence unless results collapse, the dressing room fractures, Champions League becomes mathematically unrealistic, and there's a clear regression, not just stagnation. Right now, Liverpool are 6th in the mix, defensively improved and underlying metrics stable. That's not sackable territory. However, were Liverpool to finish 7th or lower, performances to get worse, not just boring, and Salah's situation was to explode again, or the squad looked confused rather than evolving, then yeah, the summer would become quite uncomfortable for Slot. But right now, it kind of feels more like you've got next season to convince us. Now, that's what the AI says. So anyway, I guess the question is for you. After this article, I want to know from you guys, what do you think is going to happen with Slot? What do you think of the article? And what do you think of what my AI little thing, call him Ghost, said? Anyway, let me know what you think down below, guys, and I'll catch you in the next one.